It's the third day when I'm trying to enter the European Parliament as elected by the people and for the people. This is the badge to prove that I'm an elected official. I'm a member of the European Parliament. According to the Treaty of the European Union and the EU laws, a member of the European Parliament should not be prohibited in any way, banned, or interfere with his mandate, especially when he's coming and he's going from the place of work to the member state. So I came this week from Romania to represent the Romanian constituents in this chamber of the parliament. We, as MEPs, as members of the European Parliament, we are not the employees of the parliament. Sassoli, the president of the parliament, is not our boss. He cannot fire us, he cannot forbid us, from exercising our mandate, Do you know who's our boss? These people here. These are our bosses. They sent us here, they entrusted us with their votes, and we are here to work for them. No. Who are you? Who elected you here?
Nobody.
Do you see? That's the difference. The difference between me and you, you're not elected and I'm elected.
Okay.
So we are here, and actually you're here, okay, to also work for the people that elected us here. Look, it's not I don't have anything with you. You follow what we are told. I understand that.
Thank you,
okay?
sir.
But this has to be on record. That's the reason why I'm filming it right now. Okay? Because the European citizens need to know exactly what is happening. Simple. So.
Mr. Eurodeputee, thank you for joining our program today. Please give us a glance about what happened at the entrance of the European Parliament 2 days ago.
Thank you so much for having me. 3 days ago, I would say, from the moment we are having this interview, it was Tuesday. I came from Romania. I came to exercise my right as a deputy, as elected by the people and for the people. And by the time I tried to enter the building in Brussels, I was stopped by the security guard.
Where is the European Union heading, in your opinion, having in mind that even you, as an elected Eurodeputee, you cannot have fully access to the documents and the contracts signed by the European Commission with the companies, the vaccine manufacturing companies, and is this still a democracy?
Shortly, what I have to say is that under the leadership of Ursula von der Leyen, as President of the European Commission, EU is clearly transitioning from democracy to tyranny. The difference between democracy and tyranny, it's simple. When you know everything about your government, that is democracy. When the government knows everything about you, and like in our case, it's imposing things on you without you knowing all the facts, that is tyranny. So look what happened just in the last 2 years. Under the pretext of fighting COVID, which, the virus clearly exists, people are unfortunately getting infected. Some of them are even dying from this, as I've said, insane disease, which exists, the virus and everything. The Commission and a certain political minority, I would say, used this or saw this crisis as an opportunity to grab more and more power from all the other institutions and implicitly to violate the rights of the people. So look where we are right now. I give you a simple example. In the European Union, this House, the European Parliament, has passed in April, if I'm not mistaken, April or May, the regulation about the green certificate. The purpose of that, it was stated to be so-called a facilitator to facilitate the freedom of movement. Now look where we are right now. From facilitating the freedom of movement, I said it initially that this will not facilitate, but it will violate, it will restrict rights. So from a facilitator or to facilitate the freedom of movement, we got to the point where this certificate is facilitating the exercise of your fundamental right to work, to healthcare, to access to buy food, to travel, to do your job as a MEP. I mean, every day we hear these horrible stories from all across the EU where governments are using this tool passed by this House, by the majority of these members, that are pretty much taking all the rights away from the people. So the question again is this a democracy, yes or no? I mean, clearly what the Commission does right now, what the Parliament approved, and what the states are doing right now inside of EU, it is the opposite of democracy. Because there are a few certain keys that you have to look at when you analyze if a system, it's a tyrannical system or a democratic system. One of the keys, transparency. How transparent is that government with you? And for some people, again, I'm coming from Eastern Europe, I understand this because we've been through this. When Gorbachev, for example, was the head of USSR, one of the things that he did was the so-called perestroika, and the other thing was glasnost. One of them had to do with the fact of being more transparent. The Soviet system to be more transparent towards their own citizens. So this is when Gorbachev started this thing, and this was one of the reasons why even USSR collapsed. One of the first things that Gorbachev did was to publish laws that were secret. So in USSR, until Gorbachev, people were tried, sent to prison, and even executed, based on laws that were never public. We had a situation in Romania as well. So one of the key elements to understand if a system, it's a democratic system, if it's a system where there's a rule of law, is transparency, and second is publicity of the law. You need to know everything about what is happening around you. How can someone comply with a law that is not public? How do you know, for example, that your government is not abusing you, is not doing something illegal, something corrupt, God knows what, if you don't have access to what the government does? So this is the reason why transparency with publicity of what the government does or is passing, these are key elements. Third, the understand, the respect and safeguard of basic fundamental rights. They like to say that, well, we live in a democracy, in other words, in a majority rule principles. It is not like that. We live in a constitutional democracy. So there's always a balance between the individual rights and the common good. There are certain fundamental and inalienable rights that no majority in the world can take away from you. It doesn't matter. I mean, I give you an example. According to the statistics, right, the majority of the people, especially in Western Europe, you know, maybe in the States not so much, but in Western Europe, the vast majority of the people are right-handed. So most of the crimes, when somebody's stabbing someone, right, they're stabbing with the right hand. So according to the same arguments as they do right now, in order to save the other people, let's chop the right hand of everybody else just so people will be safe. So according to, well, obviously it's absurd, but that's how absurd is the arguments that they are using right now. Because look, in reality, there's no conflict. There's no conflict between respecting the rights of individuals and trying to find what is good for the society. Well, what they are doing right now, they are stripping the rights away from the people, violating the rights of the people, conditioning the exercise of their fundamental rights, claiming that they actually help the society. Well, the question is this really helping the society? And I give you an example with the green certificate. So this was imposed like almost 6-7 months ago. Are we better off now than we were before? I just saw the statistics in Germany, for example, they have a higher rate of infections since the highest rate since the beginning of the pandemic. So how is this possible? How is this possible? If you have the vaccines, which you promoted as being the only solution and the best solution and the safest solution to this, if you have the green certificate, then why do we still have that problem? Or maybe not us in Romania, because not that many people are vaccinated over there, but the other one in the West. There's another insane part. So they say this, well, I got vaccinated, right? But then I got infected because you did not get vaccinated and you gave me the virus. Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. What about if these vaccines are not working as they were marketed? I mean, why nobody's taking this into consideration? I personally don't have anything against the vaccines. Who wants to take them, they should be free to do it. My problem is mandating, coercing people, forcing people to take in their body a medical product that they don't want for various reasons, for religious reasons, for just because they want to exercise their free will. You know, in my case, maybe if they wouldn't have pushed for this, maybe I would have got vaccinated, because I would have never spent the time to read all these things about the vaccines. I would have trusted the science, as they say, believe in science. But when I saw, this was a click for me. When I saw that they tried to impose this on, I said, that's it. This is a line that I will not cross, and I will not allow to be crossed. And it will be my job and my call to fight for this. And that's the reason why I fought from the beginning. I was one of the strongest opponents. If you look at all the speeches in the plenary against the green certificate, I was the strongest one, and I warned everybody since then. I said, look, if we accept this as a matter of principle, and I asked even Commissioner Reinders Didier in his face, where are you going to stop? So now you're conditioning the exercise of freedom of movement by a green certificate. What will be next?
What do you think they are hiding in the contract? Because I saw you on the conference showing the contract between the given by you by the Commission, and they were full of black lines. So what kind of chapters are hidden?
Well,
because some of them, they will say, okay, maybe the price is not public, maybe I don't know what, but there were too many pages of black.
Here's the funny part. You asked me what chapters. Well, the funny part is this. They even highlighted the name of the chapter. So we don't even know what chapter was hidden or blacked out. So I will answer that question. You know, what might be in them? I don't know. And honestly, at this point, I don't care. What I know is transparency. It's not for me, and it's not about me. It is about the rights of the European citizens to know what the hell is going on. It's simple. Because we got to the point where the European Commission is negotiating. I mean, the president of the Commission is under investigation right now for negotiating privately, personally with the head of Pfizer to buy 1.8 billion new doses of vaccine. This is just from Pfizer. God knows how many others will be bought from the other companies. So my question is, shouldn't we all know what is in these contracts? Maybe there's nothing illegitimate. I'm not saying that. I'm not claiming even that. I'm not even implying that. My problem is that pages of pages are blacked out. We don't even know what's there. So when you see this happening, that on one side, your fundamental rights are conditioned in one case to get vaccinated, but on the other case, you as citizen, right? You'll see the government imposing this on you, forcing you, coercing you to do this. But on the other side, I don't know what's in these contracts. It is not fair to the people to put them in this place. So there's something important for the people that will be listening to the interview to understand. There were claims, there were, I would say, actions from both the right side of the aisle, from the ECR group, ID, but also from the left side of the aisle. Greens and the left groups who ask not from now, but from the beginning of the year, these contracts should be published. These contracts should be published. Imagine that in this house, we have a committee called the Con Committee, which has the responsibility to control the way the budget and the spendings, the way the money is spent by the Commission. And I asked the members of that committee. So I said, look, you have a mandate to check how the European Commission is spending the money of the European citizens. Have you seen the contracts? And they all said, no. Then how in the world can you do your job? See, look, if I would have been in that committee, I would have, exploded over there. Because you cannot allow this to happen. It's like the entrance in the parliament where they condition the exercise of your right as a MEP by whatever document. So I said, how were you able? So last year, for example, you had a report to check, for the spendings of the Commission, and you said, yeah, the spendings are okay. How do you know that? How do you know that if you don't have access to contracts? Well, so after pressures in the parliament, there's a lot of, boiling, I would say. The Commission said, okay, we will publish them in the redacted format. Look, here's the absurd part. After the Commission, and I quote, received the approval from these companies to publish some parts of the contracts. I mean, guys, these people at the Commission who accepted such terms, this is like tyranny. I mean, not like tyranny. This is tyranny. Are we owned by the Commission? Us as people, as citizens with fundamental rights? How in the world can the president of the Commission to even accept the fact that she has to get an approval from a private company to disclose the contracts signed, where the public money are spent?
They agreed on the first hand about these terms.
Exactly. Well, even the fact that you agree with this, that's a problem in itself. And we'll have to make it, we got to get to the bottom of this. I mean, this is just the beginning. I have to tell you that in the past few days, I got calls from a lot of MEPs from all the groups that said, look, man, you really have a point here. Clearly there's a problem. Because nobody knew this, When you listen to all these bureaucrats, when you listen to all these officials in public offices, they will all tell you, oh, democracy is so good, we are so democratic. What are we really? Are we really? So I was elected here. I'm talking now on my behalf. I was elected here. I made a promise to my people in Romania. I said, look, I will be elected in the European Parliament, and I will make sure that I will fight for your rights to be respected. So that's what I'm doing over here. But this is a fight that is not concerning only the Romanian audience or the Romanian people or my constituents, for example. Because I understand, I agree that there might be people in Romania that might not agree with me. I accept that. It's okay. I mean, we live in a democracy. It would be too boring that everybody would agree with everybody all the time. But at the same time, this is a matter. This is not a right or left issue. This is a right or wrong. And clearly, what the Commission is doing, what the Parliament is doing, it's wrong. It is wrong in its essence because it's violating the treaties and all that, and it is wrong for the people. I mean, seeing these people staying in line to get tested, not to be able to exercise their fundamental rights. Look, I would say we are privileged here, to work here, to fight for them. But not all the people are like we are. That is the reason why, besides our rights, I would say, that are violated, we have a responsibility for the people, even who did not vote for us, but to make sure that their rights are respected. So I don't want a European Union where in order to go to work, you need a green certificate. In order to go to eat, you need a green certificate. In order to get your kids to school or to a kindergarten, you have to show proof of something to someone. No, this is not the type of European Union that was ever envisioned by the founding fathers. So my job, my duty, my call is to fight for human rights and to restore freedom and democracy in EU.
I said on when I was filming the intro of this interview, I made a comment asking the viewers, can you imagine this happening to a congressman? So do you see this happening to a congressman?
In the States?
Yes.
Oh, no way in hell. No way. Because, say, in my case, I will say I had the privilege to live in the United States for 17 years before I was elected in the European Parliament. And I saw over there, I talked to many congressmen, I know, Democratic congressmen, Republican congressmen, senators. And that's what I learned. I learned from their example the importance of respecting the office they are holding. Because it's not your office. Because in this term, you might be here. Next term, you might not be. And someone else will take your office. So it's not about you as a person, as an individual. It is about the office. So I know debates in the past in the United States where Congress people, senators, they oppose such things. So one of the reasons why I'm so opposing this, is because I've seen this happening in the States in the past, and I already have some models over there. I would say that I could follow, because maybe that's the reason why you haven't seen, I would say, so far in Europe this kind of attitude. But I think right now, I have to tell you, more and more MEPs are contacting me and say, I want to join this fight, for freedom, for liberty. And I said, look, you are more than welcome. Because this is, as I said, it's not the right or left issue, it's a right or wrong, And clearly what is happening right now is wrong for the people, and we have duty to be here and fight for them.
Mr. Deputy, thank you very much for having us in the show, and hope we'll meet again and see what is going on with the contract.
Well, what I can tell you is that we made a promise that we are here to fight for you all, and we will be doing that. As far as the contract, we will do everything in our power, and we will use all the prerogatives that we have to make sure that these contracts are fully published, so everybody in the EU will actually know what is going on. One thing that I want to address to you guys, the European citizens, take this time and look back in history. Maybe you guys in the West, you haven't been under the tyranny since the 40s or the 50s, but we in the East, we were. We know what tyranny is. And based on our bad experience from the past, we are fighting right now, so you in the West will not live the type of life that we used to live over there. So my call to you is, look back in the history, learn from history's mistakes, and fight right now so we don't repeat those histories. God bless you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.